Hi, so today's review about bike tires. So tires for adventure bike specifically, heavy adventure bike more specifically. So bikes like 1250, 1200 GS, bikes like Honda Cross Tourer, bikes like KTM 1290 Super Adventure, and so on and so forth. Again, what I'm saying here, I'm talking about the tire size 19 in the front and 17 in the rear. 120 by 70 by 90 to be precise, and rear again 170 by 60 by 17 inch. Because sometimes same tire model and the brand and different sizes will behave differently. So I'm talking about just those usual options for heavy adventure bikes. So first of all, when you're choosing a tire, you need to think about what you're gonna do with a bike. So if you plan to do a European trip to Alps, for example, and enjoy twisty roads there, you need to choose simply the best road tire available for those sizes. Currently, there is a Michelin Road 5, there is a Conti Road Attack 3, there is a Metzeler Torrance Next, there is a Michelin Aniki 3. So those are four tires which I kind of think about. On the Torrance Next, I did a trip to Monte Carlo through Alps, from Lithuania to Monte Carlo through Alps and back, 5,000 kilometers in total for the trip. And totally on that tire, 10,000 kilometers, and the tire was still alright, so it wasn't wear down completely. Probably another 2,000 kilometers of easy riding it would survive, but it was completely squared out because of a long highway rides. And German autobahns sometimes for speed for more than 200 kilometers an hour with heavy bike in summer. So it really went through hell and it survived quite alright, and it has a good handling and grip in both dry and wet, I think. I never had any problems with it, so I can definitely recommend that one. A little bit worse tire, but still alright, completely alright. It's Michelin Aniki 3. Some say it's a noisy in the front. I never noticed that for whatever reason. I had it on two bikes. I tried it on GS 1200 Adventure, liquid cooled, and on my current 1250 GS. So I wouldn't say it's noise. I do not know. Maybe why people kind of what kind of a noise people hear, but for me it seems to be fine. So again, if you're afraid of a noise, when Metzeler Torrance Next is definitely alright. When I never tried Michelin Road 5 and Conti Road Attack 3, but from what I heard is really good. But what I can recommend based on my own experience is Torrance Next from Metzeler. That really works really well. But it's an easy choice. There are some tires and they're all pretty much the same, or good, or kind of alright. The harder question is if you want to do off-roading as well, not just the road, but off-road. So let's say you have planning quite a long trip and you need to do some off-roading during that. So what would you choose? I think that comes down to what is a true 50/50 tire, and I think currently on the market it's only one option available, which is Heidenau K60. Why? Because you can do easily 6,000 kilometers on it, riding mostly on a tarmac, on the pavement, right, paved roads, and it will be fine. And probably you can do even more, like 7,500 on it, again, including the fast riding. But it will be wear down completely to a point when it will be useless for on the off-road. There will be no treads left in the rear, in the center. It will be completely square. But again, not the best tire for on-road use, not the best tire for off-road use, but it's good on both on-road and off-road, good enough per se. On the off-road, it can get you from point A to point B, and that's it. So we don't worry about it. So true 50/50 tire. Now if you, let's say, have two sets of wheels and you already have a Torrance Next or whatever else on your on-road set, what would you choose for the off-road set? For me, the best option there would be Michelin Aniki Wild tires. Why? Because they have very good handling on the road, and most of the time you spend actually getting, well, at least I spend, first of all, getting to a point where I would like to ride off-road. Sometimes it's a, I don't know, couple of tenths of a kilometers, let's say 20, 50 kilometers, sometimes up to 300 kilometers before I hit off-road. And all that time I would like to drive in a comfort at a higher speed, let's say 140, 50 kilometers an hour, and then I want the bike to handle well, give me pleasure basically of that ride through paved road and before I hit the off-road. And it behaves quite well on the off-road as well, especially in the forest trail, on the wet grass, because it has very like a pronounced knobs, and so we bite into the surfaces quite well. The only place where I think it's not great, not perfect, it's on a deep sand. So deep sand for it, I think the distance in the rear between the knobs is so high that it actually cannot propel a lot of like sand back, so to create a forward thrust of a bike. However, still usable. It's not like totally bad. It's all right. So you can get your gain from point A to point B. But in the forest trails, in the wet forest trails, it's just perfect. So the next tire, I think, which worth mentioning is TKC-80. That is a better off-road tire, one Michelin Aniki Wild, especially in the deep sand, but it's much worse on the road. So getting from point A to point B, let's say if there's a 300 kilometers on a paved road before you hit over actual dirt, that would be not as pleasant as an Aniki Wild tire, and the rear will wear down quite quickly. So if on the Aniki Wild, the rear for me survived for about 3,500 kilometers before I wanted to replace it. Again, I replace the rear when it's not completely wear down to, I don't know, to flat, but I still have some tread left, so I can ride it off-road. So 3,500 kilometers was for me, that was limit where I didn't want to keep it to ride off-road. So for TKC-80, that same amount, to the same point of a wear, it would be about 2,800 kilometers or something close to that. Again, taking account that most of the kilometers are done on a paved road before you hit the off-road segments. And again, turning performance, like how bike handles, the stability of a bike at a higher speed is much worse. Not much, but it's worse on Michelin Aniki Wilds. Now in the third place, for very specific purposes, for me there is a Mitas E10. So on-road performance is bad, don't even want to discuss that. But on off-road, for deep sand and loose surfaces, it's a great tire actually to have. Again, if you have two sets, an E10, and you think you're gonna plan to ride on the deep sand, or you plan to ride on like mud, things like that, the E10 will really shine there. Nice grip, both forward and lateral as well. Now let's talk about the bad tires again, which I had. So the best of the bad is Metzeler Karoo 3 for a few reasons. It's really noisy on the paved roads at about 130 kilometers an hour. If the tire is a little bit has a little wear on it, at about 130 the noise will be unbearable. It just, you cannot just even freaking survive that. This is how bad that is. We have bad lateral grip, so if you're riding on a slope, like there is a slope, a hill, and you're riding like that on a trail, the rear will have a big tendency to slide, and it's really scary. On the narrow trails, you may hit a tree and things like that and damage your bike and damage yourself. So no go. They're quite alright in deep sand, much well better than Aniki 3, maybe better than TKC-80, but the rest of negative points they have really overcome. Also, turning performance on those Aniki 3s are quite bad, and it's strange. So a bike, you can feel like an edge where it changes the behavior in a turn. So it starts all right, but when you lean it more, the bike stops kind of getting in a turn, so it just wants to lean but go straight. So you need to actually force a bike in a turn at some point. So you need to wait for that moment to come and then catch it. Well, you can get used to it, but why should you if there is a better tires available like Aniki Wild again? So this Karoo 3 life of them, about 3,500 as well. Not great. So bad tire, I think, overall. And the worst of all is Pirelli Scorpion Rally tire. That's the worst tire on the GS I ever had. Oh, many different problems of it. So first of all, at the higher speeds, the front is unstable, so it may wander a little bit, so you can feel it on the bars. And sometimes if you hit something and you need to actually stabilize the front because it keeps like doing that, wobbling for whatever freaking reason. But at the lower speeds, like 100 kilometers an hour, it feels alright, very stable in front. Strange, isn't it? And turning performance similar to Carry Free but worse. So from very moment you start initiating the turn and you lean your bike, again same sensation. The bike leans but it wants to go straight, so you need to push it in a turn. I don't like that type of behavior at all. The carcass is really strong, so it may be good over the rocks, so you don't damage your rims. But if you're driving through inconsistencies on the road, the bike's kind of wobbles because, well, carcass is so hard, so it wants to throw the bike to left and right. So bad lateral grip again on the trails, you're sliding down all the time, not good at all. On the sand is kind of alright. So I think that tire may be alright in some areas where you have a lot of rocks, and dry surfaces, like a dry clay and rocks. Maybe when it will shine, I don't know. But for me, it was terrible experience with that tire, even though it's like a good manufacturer, like a Pirelli. Why? Again, I don't know, but here we go. So conclusion is the following. So let's draw a conclusion. So if you have just one set of wheels and you want to do both on-road and off-road in just a normal manner with your friends, whatever, pretty much K60 will cover that for 6,000 kilometers in a year. So if you have two set of wheels and you want to do on-road and off-road, and you use whatever Turance Next, I can really recommend that for the road use, and Aniki Wiles for off-road use, but you will be covered, except for cases when you have a deep sand and you may consider E10 or TKC 80 maybe, if you don't care about the road, getting there to the point where you're gonna ride. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. So Turance Next and Aniki Wiles. These are two champions in each segment. Again, I didn't try Michelin Road 5, so maybe it was a better, so let me know in the comments. And same with the Conti Road Attack 3, so let me know if you tried those and how they feel. So currently I have on my on-road set Aniki 3 tires, and I'm probably gonna have them until I wear them down. So next season I will be looking for something like maybe Conti Road Attack or Michelin Road 5. But again, it's hard to find reliable information on the internet. It's a lot of marketing bullshit and people telling you like that all the tires are great. So whatever review you look for specific tires, great tire and whatever, nobody tells you the truth. So unfortunately. And again, maybe there is a different opinion by different people. So somebody likes this, somebody likes that. But I think it's still most of a marketing bullshit which affects all these review inconsistencies. Alright guys, so thanks a lot, and that was it for me. Have a nice whatever time of the day you have, and bye.